ESPN Plus game is brought to you by Oppenheimer Funds, the right way to invest. Advanced Auto Parts, keep the wheels turning. By Pontiac, official performance machines of the NCAA. Select Spiders. Start weaving a stronger portfolio today. Visit us on the web at sectorspdrs.com or call 1-800-THE-AMEX. And by the U.S. Navy. Navy, accelerate your life. Welcome, everyone, to Big East College Basketball on ESPN Plus. We are inside Fifth Third Arena. Marquette traveling to the Queen City to take on the Cincinnati Bearcats. Both teams over 500 at Big East play and hoping to remain that way. Let's take a look at our Star Watch today. Coach, what do you have?
Well, what I've got is a matchup here at the point guard position. Dominique James has been struggling lately with that sore wrist, and he'll have to play well today against Jamal Warren, who's got 5 and 5 in the Big East. Rebounds, points, okay, and steals.
All right, time now for our Pizza Hut starting lineups. This is how Tom Crean aligns his team for Marquette. We got those three juniors, and James, McNeil, and Matthews that have played so many games together. Then you got Dwight Burke and Lazar Hayward up front. For Cincinnati, it's Warren, Deontay Vaughn, Bishop, Williamson, and then the big guy from Poland, Adam Haryzniak.
Let's go.
And there is Tom Crean, now in his 9th goal round with the Marquette Golden Eagles. 180 wins, 90 losses. He wins 2 out of every 3 games that he coaches.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's a great tactician. He's also an incredible motivator, and there's nothing more that he would like to get today than a victory on the road.
And just a little bit further down on the other bench, that is Mick Cronin in his 2nd season. He's now officially coached 50 games with the Cincinnati Bearcats. He's won 20 of them and lost 30. But he has got a good thing going, Coach. He doesn't have anyone who played on this team 3 years ago still on his roster. There's been an absolutely total upheaval. And so far, so good. The guys are playing very well in the middle part of the season in Big East play.
And that's a great point, because so much of winning is psychology, and it's a winning mentality. And that's what he's brought here. And he's got these guys believing they can win every game.
Marquette, they have not won a road game in the Big East so far this season. Tap is won by Cincinnati. The first shot is true for Jamal Warren. Good start for the Bearcats.
Great start for the Bearcats. Once again, if they can get other people to score, other than Dante, then Vaughn, then they've got a pretty good chance here.
Dominique James played just 19 minutes on Tuesday against South Florida. Worried about that right wrist. Misses his first shot.
Well, he is worried about it. He's thinking about it probably a little bit too much. And right there in that first shot, he came up a little bit short.
John Williamson dips it in with the left hand. An early 4-0 lead for Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's going to mix it up today defensively. You'll see mostly man. You might see a little bit of 3-2 zone as well. Here they're in man-to-man.
Rel McNeil, junior from Chicago, tied up, has the ball poked away. James, Johnny on the spot. McNeil gets it back along the baseline. No. And we're going to have a whistle and a foul. Lazar Hayward going to the bucket, was whacked.
Well, once again, you're going to see Cincinnati attacking the boards, both boards. If Marquette wants to win today, they're going to have to do a much better job than they've been doing on the glass, because they're getting out-rebounded by about 6 rebounds a game by their opponents.
They're going to say the foul was on the rebound attempt, so no shots for Hayward. Good interior pass. McNeil can't convert. Shot may have been blocked.
Patience is also going to be a key for Cincinnati. If they don't have the break, they really want to try to execute. Yesterday in practice, they put a high premium on taking care of the ball, because this team, Marquette, is one of the best teams in the country at taking it from you.
Backdoor pass. Can't be converted inside by Williamson. Gets it back, poked away, and Marquette has the basketball.
Keys for the game for Marquette. Get an early lead, try to take this crowd out of it, score off turnovers, because they're going to steal the ball, and then, of course, block out an area that they've had a lot of problems with this year.
And the big fella, Lazar Hayward, steps out and hits a shot from distance. He can hit that shot.
Yes, he can. He proved that in the last game against South Florida. That's what makes this Marquette team so difficult to play. As far as Cincinnati today, the keys for the game: limit the turnovers against this steel team. Rebound offensively, but you know what? Score when you get the rebound and get back on defense, because this Marquette team will run on miss and makes.
Vaughn gets inside, throws it up high up the window, and it falls.
He's strong, Eric. He'll get in the lane and he'll use that body. You see him get very, very few shots blocked, no matter how big the other team is.
Matthews, a little bit shy. Rebound run down by John Williamson.
Well, Cincinnati would be very happy if Marquette settles for jump shots as opposed to trying to get it in the lane.
Vaughn. He's tough when he gets his outside shot rolling early.
He really is, and once again, because of his ability to be able to penetrate. And this is just what Cincinnati wanted to do. Get out in front, get Marquette in a position where they're playing from behind, and basically, you know, put them in a position where they're going to have to do a lot of things that they don't like to do.
McNeil bottled up. Pass slips off the hands of Dwight Burke, and here comes Cincinnati, already up by 6, looking for more.
Huge possession here for Cincinnati.
Oh, quick trigger, and Vaughn comes up empty. Not exactly sure that was the shot that Mick Cronin had drawn up. And now we're going to have a foul the other way. Dominic James was elevating. Well, a unique look today for Tom Crean, but there's a method to the madness. Today is Suits and Sneakers Day all around the world of college basketball. Mick Cronin for Cincinnati, and obviously Tom Crean, who you're looking at right now, wearing sneakers at their game to show support for the fight against cancer. Coaches are drawing attention to the fact that cancer continues to be a major health concern, and the public can help reduce the risk of cancer with exercise and a healthy diet. The National Association of Basketball Coaches is sponsoring this national effort.
Well, they are, and you know, I was on the board when this all began. I'm proud to say that. 1993, we initiated this program, and since then, the NABC has raised over $40 million for the fight against cancer. And the other thing, Everett, I often wondered why coaches don't dress this way every night.
Looks comfortable. I'm sure Tom Crean is thrilled right now that he gets a chance to stay away from his three-piece suit.
Well, not only does he stay away from the three-piece suit, but it looks like they're playing a little bit of matchup zone right now, and definitely are. Going through with the cutters and then coming back to the position. Because once again, you know, they don't want to get down by any more than this 9-4 deficit.
Ball poked away and stolen. Wesley Matthews on the run out. Over to Hayward. Doesn't like his odds, and they'll set it up. And McNeil is fouled as Williamson falls to the ground. All right, our first chance to catch our breath. We have played 4 minutes and change. Tom Crean looking to drum some offense. This trails Cincinnati by 5 early. Slow out the gate. They trail Cincinnati 9-4, just getting started here in Cincinnati. Well, today's Big East Coaches Spotlight is brought to you by Oppenheimer Funds. Let's take a closer look at Marquette mastermind Tom Crean.
Well, Tom Crean is a great tactician. He's a guy out of the Tom Izzo school, learned well under his mentor, knows how to execute offensively, and also how to get his kids to play intense, in-your-face defense.
And he's had some players play for him over the years. Travis Diener was a good one. Of course, Dwayne Wade was one of the all-time greats.
Well, the other thing that he does so well is he lets his players basically play to their strength and tries to find a way to work that into the offense.
Tom Crean sends Ousmane Barrow, senior from Senegal, wearing number 41 into the game for the first time. And we're going to have a foul called against Marquette. Lazar Hayward, trying to get position down in the block, is whistled for Marquette's first foul.
Well, that's good scouting. Yesterday, they worked a lot on defending that play where the guard goes behind and then they post up a guy. And basically, everybody was in the right position, and that's why they got that charge. Let's see if Marquette goes back to zone again, which they did on that last possession. They don't want to fall too far behind here at Cincinnati. And also, Cincinnati only shoots as a team 33% from 3, and their best three-point shooter shoots 40. So, smart move to go zone.
Long jump shot, a little bit too strong off the fingertips of Warren, but an offensive rebound. Missed inside. Marcus Sykes thought he had a bunny, but he doesn't get the roll.
That's the only problem with the zone, though. They give up a lot more offensive rebounds, and Marquette has had trouble rebounding.
Marquette, the 16th ranked team in the country, 15-4, 5-3 in Big East play, but they have not won on the road in conference. 0-3 away from Milwaukee. Clean look for James. He continues to struggle.
Well, he does, and you know, I talked with him before the game, and he mentioned his wrist. And when a player talks about an injury, that means the injury has affected their head. And he is right now letting this injury affect his game because he can do so many other things besides shoot that jump shot. What he's got to do now is try to find a way to get closer to the basket.
Well, he should feel comfortable here. He's from Richmond, Indiana, which is not too far away from Cincinnati. I guess he has close to 500 friends and family from Richmond that have made the pilgrimage here.
That puts a little bit extra pressure on you, Eric, and sometimes that's the worst thing a coach wants.
Shot along the baseline is missed. And what are we going to have? That's going to go against Cincinnati.
Well, even though the big guy, Sykes, picks up the foul, the coach, you know, doesn't really mind that much because he's being aggressive on the boards.
Both teams with one 3-point field goal made so far. 2 of 7 combined.
And there's no need for Cincinnati to change their defense. They're going to stay man-to-man until Marquette starts to solve it.
Dan Fitzgerald is checked into the game, wearing number 5 for Marquette. And James, this time too strong with a 3-point attempt. Here comes Warren. Sykes looking to get it down low. Haritzanyuk back out to Gentry. Now they feed the post again. Gentry. Too strong, rebound, Matthews.
This Marquette team will push it up on you, miss or make.
Nice athletic move, and Matthews can't convert. Now on the run out, it's a 3-on-2. Gentry is fouled, had his legs taken out from underneath him. He'll go to the free throw line.
Well, let's see, on this play right here, you've got that nice bounce pass. You got to take that ball, and on that contact, you got to score those. You got to really, you should be going to the foul line right now to complete the 3-point play.
Foul called against Jarrell McNeil, his first. And the senior from Fort Worth, Texas, Marvin Gentry, will shoot a pair.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Eric. Early in the game, Cincinnati is doing a great job getting a lot of players involved. I mean, they've been subbing in rather loosely, which is great for the confidence of the team. It also lets everybody in the bench know, be ready, because you may be going in.
Larry Davis and Anthony McLean have just checked in for Cincinnati. Davis a shooter and McLean a big fella. Gentry makes them both. David Kubian is now in for Marquette, wearing number 10. And Fitzgerald misses his first shot, but gets his own miss. Ball stripped away. Good defense played by Warren. And out of frustration, Dominic James reaches in and commits the foul.
Well, I tell you what, first of all, Jamal Warren, one of the reasons why he was our star watch was because of the fact that he defends. This young man has got great hands, as you see right there. He's really been the difference, I think, in the Cincinnati team, okay, with his play since getting in the lineup in December. Marquette sticks with that zone, and you can't blame them because Cincinnati has not made an outside shot yet against it.
Gentry picks up his dribble, gets it over to Warren. Along the baseline, shot a little bit too strong. Sykes continues to struggle with that shot.
Still scoreless against the zone.
Inside, good pass, and Barrow converts. Wesley Matthews found him streaking open on the baseline.
Excellent pass. The weak side defenders did not rotate down, something that they spent a lot of time on working on yesterday as well. You got to carry out your assignments.
These two schools haven't met on the basketball floor in over 2 years. Last time they played was January 2006 up in Milwaukee, a game won by Cincinnati.
Well, that's what happens when you have so many teams in your conference.
Kubian has the basketball. Over to Fitzgerald. He misses and again gets his own miss, but has it stripped away. Here comes Warren.
Amen. When those guys were in Conference USA, they'd play each other twice a year. But now in the Big East with so many teams, sometimes you only play a team once.
Open look, and again, Cincinnati struggling from deep. And now a tie-up, and what are we going to have? It's going to be a foul called against Cincinnati. Marquette basketball. All right, the Cincinnati Bearcats on top early. We have a timeout. Cincinnati on top, 11-6. Welcome back, everyone, to Cincinnati, Ohio. The locals on top of Marquette, 11-6, 11:33 remaining in the first half. Well, here's an advanced look at upcoming games brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning for Marquette. On Monday, they've got Louisville, and they got Notre Dame, and Seton Hall, and Pittsburgh. Could be tough there.
Well, it is tough, especially the way they've been playing on the road. And the two home games are no slouches.
For Cincinnati, this is what they have coming up, and it may be a chance for them to make some hay. After today, they've got Rutgers a week from today, St. John's, South Florida, and then, of course, the top dogs, Georgetown.
Well, you know what? That top game might fool you. You might look at that and say Rutgers, but look at the first part of and it says at Rutgers, and it's tough to win in the rack.
Dominic James is going to get his first breather. He's on the bench. He's been replaced by Maurice Acker, the sophomore transfer from Ball State. There's Acker with the ball, right wing, over to Kubian. Good interior pass to Matthews. And again, he finds Barrow. That's the second time that Matthews has dropped a perfect dime on Barrow.
Well, Matthews has been, he has been solid. And the great thing about him is even with the other guys, McNeil and James, not scoring, he's still looking to pass the basketball. You know, most guys would be looking to just jack it up, get as many jump shots as they could. That's why this kid is so good.
Well, Matthews has got that good passing skills in his blood. His father, of course, was Wesley Matthews, who was an all Big Ten performer and spent a decent amount of time in the National Basketball Association.
Well, I remember him when he was a high school player in Connecticut. A great player.
You're going old school on us.
Yes.
Inside, the shot is missed. Kenny Belton getting some early playing time, can't convert on the dunk attempt. Matthews gets his own miss, throws it up, and he's fouled.
You gotta love the way he attacks the rim and then goes after the ball. He's just a guy that's always in motion. Here's a pretty good example of a great player making other players better with that pass along the baseline. I don't know if we'll see the other really good pass he made, but he's made two beautiful passes so far in this game. Always looking to help his team.
71% free throw shooter makes the first. Lazar Hayward comes back into the game. Adam Haritsinyuk comes back into the game wearing number 34 for Cincinnati.
Adam needs to step up for Cincinnati. You know, the games that I've seen, when he has played well, Cincinnati has had a much, much better chance of winning. And he's capable of knocking down that mid-range jump shot.
Extra possession for the Golden Eagles. Marquette, they've been Jekyll and Hyde. 5-0 in the Big East at home, 0-3 on the road.
Well, you know, when you play on the road, you got to bring your A game, and particularly you got to bring your defensive game. And you got to play. You got to be ready to play from behind. And they have not been good playing from behind. They've got blown out on the road. Forget about losing. They've been getting crushed on the road.
Haven't had much of a chance. Turnover gives the ball back over to the Bearcats. Up by 2, looking for more. Alvin Mitchell now into the game, wearing 23 for Cincinnati.
Very talented freshman. Struggled a little bit when the big boys started playing, but he's a very talented young man.
Vaughn gets in the paint and is fouled, and they're going to give him the continuation. Generous.
Very much so, but well deserved. Little guys get in, throw their body into the big guys. Give it to them. There you go, right here on him not only getting into the lane, but then taking the contact and having the presence to throw it up there. A lot of guys, you know, when they hear the whistle blow, they either keep the ball in their hands or maybe they pass it. He was smart enough to throw it up to the rim, and guess what? He got blessed.
He's now got 7 points, make it 8. The sophomore from Indianapolis. Those 8 points tops on either side. Inside, Barrow.
Mix up defensively. They want them to basically help against that, but then recover. And the weak side defenders have got to come over and help in the lane when that guy rolls to the rim.
That's Barrow's 3rd bucket of the game. All of them have come on perfect feeds. He's got 6 points. Well, golf fans and club pros, it's not too early to start thinking about the 2008 ESPN National Golf Challenge. Log on to ESPNGolf.com to sign your course up as a host or to find a local qualifying site in your area. Be a part of the search for America's best twosome. Coach, if you and I were a twosome, I don't think we would ever be considered America's best twosome.
It depends. Depends on how you kept score. We would establish a new format for keeping score. I promise you.
You'd have to do something different for me to qualify. All right, this is what we're talking about. Jekyll and Hyde. Marquette at home. These are Big East games only. 5-0 with an average winning margin of 15 points, but on the road, it's a totally different story.
You know what? And I hate to say this, but I think it has to do with character. The real toughness of your kids really manifests itself when you go on the road. And I don't know why. I mean, a team as talented as Marquette can be so different. There's something missing. And usually it's inside.
I guess to many it would be surprising considering they have 3 3-year guys who have played so much basketball in Matthews, McNeil, and James.
True. Usually you got a veteran team. That usually takes care of it.
Aritzanyuk. No. Here comes Marquette. Down by 3. Hayward. No. Aritzanyuk the rebound. This is the man we were talking about a moment ago. Alvin Mitchell gets it over to Deontay Vaughn.
Tell you what, he lights it up in practice, and probably all he needs to do is make one in a game and have the confidence to take it in the game. He's not bashful in practice, I'll tell you that.
Neither is this man, Deontay Vaughn. He'll trigger it up whenever he's got a chance. Misses. Aritzanyuk, no. And there continues to be a lid on the basket for Cincinnati.
Well, especially close. You got to really attack the glass. You got to try and get your hands up in the backboard if you can.
Barrow, did he step on the baseline? Yes, he did. Barrow was out of bounds. It'll give the ball back over to Cincinnati.
Well, right here, you've got this shot going up. You know, you get that rebound, okay, or at that end right there, you got my man stepping on the end line. But once again, both teams very, very aggressive going after the ball.
All right, Coach, put on your coach's hat again. Was that a good shot for Dominique James?
I don't think so. I don't think right now any shot for Dominique James outside the 3 is a good shot because obviously his wrist is bothering him. That's where you basically get into the lane with the idea of passer. There's the flush. That's what he needed. Maybe that'll get him going.
Alvin Mitchell, his first bucket, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale. Ball poked away. Here comes Warren, and he's tripped by Hayward.
Actually, that foul may have saved the basket.
Lazar Hayward, his 2nd personal foul. And right now, Marquette, besides Usman Barrow, they're struggling. Cincinnati on top by 6, 7 and change remaining in the first half. Cincinnati on top of Marquette, 17-11, and we have some interested royalty looking on. That's the big O, folks. Oscar Robertson, the all-time greatest to ever come out of Cincinnati. Maybe the all-time greatest to ever come out of anywhere.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody talks about double-doubles. Just imagine this. He averaged a triple-double as an NBA player. That's for the year, a triple-double. And the other thing a lot of people don't realize is this is a great, great man. Donates a kidney to his daughter, and one year I was honored to share an award with Oscar Robertson as the Father of the Year. He deserved it. Somehow they let me get up on stage with him.
Jamal Warren, modern-day point guard for Cincinnati, makes the bucket off the window, and it's now an 8-point lead for the Bearcats.
And I tell you what, the Big O really loves. He's always here, and he sits in that same seat. And a lot of times he'll tell these guys, "You guys just keep playing and play hard like I used to play."
Marquette shooting just 23% thus far, and the troubles continue as Fitzgerald misses from distance. Fitzgerald now 0 for 3 from behind the arc.
Marquette picking up the defense a little bit because they're going to have to.
Sykes gets the ball back out to Warren. Senior from Springfield, Massachusetts. Over to Deontay Vaughn.
They do a great job. Both teams actually defending those screens on the ball.
Warren into the corner. In and out. Mitchell can't make 2 in a row.
Well, that's his spot. He loves the corners.
Acker again to Barrow, and this time Barrow is bottled up and stripped.
I tell you, he did a great job to get his hands on the ball. That was a very, very difficult pass. Some people are probably saying, you got to catch it. That was a tough pass.
Oh, that's a blunder right there for the senior. A 10-second violation. Mick Cronin can't believe it.
Well, I don't think Jamal can either. He doesn't make those kinds of mistakes.
He was dilly-dallying. He was right there at the half-court line. All he needed to do was take another step across. But instead, 10 seconds, too much time, turnover.
Well, that's why coaches want to push the ball up into the front court. Whether or not you take the shot right away, push it up.
That's the 3rd turnover for Cincinnati. That's not bad.
Not at all. Not against this team.
McNeil from the elbow. Jarrell McNeil, his first bucket.
A little bit too easy, but Marquette needs this guy to get going. McNeil needs to get into it, especially with James's wrist.
Vaughn. Oh, that's pretty.
I'll tell you what, he read the screen beautifully. Defense laid behind it. He came right back in your face.
Vaughn now in double digits with 11 points.
Cincinnati doing a great job closing out, keeping the ball. One of the keys, keep it out of the lane, and they've done a good job so far doing that.
James probing, continues to struggle. Offensive rebound pulled down by James, and the ball is stripped away.
You know, when I left the arena yesterday after watching Cincinnati play, I told the SID, Mike, that I thought they'd play well today because, you know what? They didn't have a great practice yesterday, and usually the day after a bad practice, you play pretty well.
Sykes, no, and going for the rebound. Haritzanyuk is fouled by Fitzgerald. That's now the 17th foul, and the rest of the way we will have free throws for Cincinnati.
You know, I mentioned practice, that dirty word that some people think it is. It's so difficult to keep a team up every single night. You go and you play at West Virginia, you blow out, you know, your nemesis 62-39. It's very difficult to come back the next day, even though you got a big game, and really practice with that same intensity. So Mick yesterday probably had the intensity for 10 people, and he just kept after it, and after he's paying off today.
Haritzanyuk, the senior from Poland, will shoot the front end of a 1-and-1. And he comes up empty. Normally, he's a very good free thrower at 78%.
Yeah, he is. You got to make those. You know, you want to get that magic number, which is 10. You get 10 plus to start to play with the other team's psyche.
Long shot, McNeil, in and out. McNeil and Lazar Hayward both playing with 2 fouls for Marquette. That's it in terms of foul trouble for either side.
This is the guy they want the ball, want it in his hand so he can make something happen, either for himself or his teammate.
Vaughn finds Haritzanyuk open inside, misses, ball poked away. Golden opportunity goes by the wayside for Cincinnati.
Gotta finish.
McNeil, wild shot, no. Matthews is grabbed. He'll go to the free throw line.
Boy, Cincinnati's had some great opportunities to get this lead over 10 and have not cashed in. Yeah, you got a really good pass from Vaughn into the big guy who looks like, and you got to make it. Got to go up and put those in, Adam.
So free throw opportunity for Wesley Matthews, the junior from Madison. He'll get 2 shots, makes the first. Coach, you were talking about practice a couple of moments ago in Cincinnati. You saw their practice. You didn't think they played that well yesterday. When you have a game on Saturday and you play on Wednesday. What's the more important day for practice? Is it Thursday or is it Friday getting ready for the Saturday game?
Well, you want to know something? I really believe every day is important for practice. I mean, practice, if you learn how to practice, you learn how to play. You cannot take any day off in practice. But if you had to pick between the two, it would probably be the day closest, because that's the day you're not only practicing physically, but you're really preparing mentally as well.
Game plan's being put in.
Game plan is being put in, and it's like the last performance before you go on Broadway.
Vaughn can't hit it. Rebound corralled by Burke. Fans wanted to walk, but he didn't go anywhere. Good call.
Get up.
Oh, look at this. Freshly into the game, Scott Christopherson hits the three. Right. The reigning Mr. Basketball in Wisconsin showing what he's got.
Amen. And I think they forgot he was in the game, maybe because he got number 0 on.
Christopherson, a 6'3" freshman from lacrosse, making it happen.
I think he was put in, not for lacrosse, but for basketball and his ability to be able to make that three-point shot.
Shot along the baseline. Warren misses it off the heel. Offensive rebound. Mitchell took a hop, skip, and a jump. Nothing called. Hayward grabs the loose ball.
Yeah, it took a bad shot, actually, to be honest with you. That time he should have just kicked out.
Hayward, Christopherson again. Hayward gets it back, and now Marquette's starting to play a little bit.
Well, they're starting to do what they do best, which is attack the lane. When they attack the lane with their big wings, they can shoot it and they can pass it. They got big guys that can catch it.
Vaughn gets inside. Running one-hander, no. And the ball out of bounds. Last touch by Cincinnati. It goes off the fingertips of Williamson. And Marquette, they'll have the basketball when we come back. Marquette quite possibly energized by the young fella. 18-year-old freshman, Scott Christopherson, feeling good. Back everyone to Fifth Third Arena. Big East basketball coming your way. Cincinnati on top of Marquette by 2. Let's take a look now at our select stats, brought to you by Select Sector Spiders. Neither team is, shooting the lights out yet, but 29% is not so good.
No, but we're going to attribute that to the defense, because actually both teams are playing pretty good defense. Of course, Cincinnati is hurting themselves by missing. They've missed about 4 close-range shots, layups.
Mick Cronin's team, they've been playing good defense as of late. They just rolled over West Virginia on Wednesday evening. They won by a score of 62-39. They limited West Virginia to just 20% shooting.
Well, I'll tell you what they did. They just went down and they beat them up.
Oh, look at that. An excuse me bucket falls, and we're tied 22-22.
Remember we talked about it was 22-13. Cincinnati misses 2 layups. Chance to go up 10 on 2 different occasions. Now you got a 9-0 run by Marquette.
Larry Davis is checked back into the game for Cincinnati, wearing number 11. Williamson, the big fella inside, throws it up with the left hand, no. Tries to get it back, and a foul is going to be called against Usman Barrow of Marquette.
Tough call. I hope we can see that one again.
These are the leaders for Cincinnati so far today. Deontay Vaughn, as you'd expect, he leads the team with 17 points tonight. He's already got 11.
Well, I'll tell you what else he's doing tonight. He's defending pretty well, using those quick hands and that strong body of his as well.
Kenny Belton makes the front end of a 1-and-1, and the fans here are a little bit surprised. That stroke didn't look like he's going to be hitting it close to 80%.
They know a lot more than we do. They've seen him, I think, a few more times. Uh-oh.
Oh, Belton hits them both. On the season, he was just 3 for 12, 25%, making out 5 for 14.
We're gonna have to keep that one. I think that was 2 shots for the price of 1, to be honest with you. Referees are looking at each other. They don't know how to call that.
A little double clutch.
Woo! And I think it left his hand. Another nice pass. Great catch, though.
Oh, and Barrow is just thrown out of bounds, and they don't call a foul. They're going to say he just lost his balance. It'll stay with Marquette.
I want to see that double. I want to see that double shot. Dave, is Dave the camera guy?
That's Dave Campbell-Longa right there. Oh, yeah. One of the great ones. with the bucket on the out-of-bounds play. Jarrell McNeil, and he'll go to the free throw line. This is just moments ago. Here's Campy down there, taking one for the team.
Oh, yeah. Wait, come on, take the charge, Camp. That's a good cameraman. You know what I also noticed? He made a noise when he was hit. When he was falling down, he said, oh!
Thing about Campy, if you're looking for a good meal, he knows where to go, particularly in his hometown. He lives here in Cincinnati, but you go on the road with him, you ask him where to go to eat, he'll always know where to go.
That's a very valuable person. I used to always assign, one of my managers was in charge of finding the best Italian restaurant in any city we ever went to. Got to find them.
And Campy will get you hooked up with a plate of ribs. That's a specialty, anywhere you go. All right, pass knocked away. Here comes Christopherson. Alley-oop. And we're going to have a foul called on Cincinnati. It's rare when you send an alley-oop to your little 5'10" point guard, but Marquette does it frequently with Dominic James.
Well, when you got Dominic James, watch this now. Watch this double shot here. I'll tell you what, I haven't seen, I don't think I've ever seen this. Look at the two Marquette guys. And you know what was so amazing about that is the Cincinnati guys didn't even move. That's why it was no violation.
More traditional free throw offering there from Dominic James, and he hits the first.
I don't know what Oscar would have said about that, but hey, it went in.
All right, with that free throw, Marquette, they take their first lead of the game, 25-24, with under 90 seconds remaining in the half.
Well, they got to feel great about that, Eric. I mean, honestly, they should probably be down by double figures right now. Instead, they could go into halftime up.
Dominic James has not made a field goal. He is now 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 3 from three-point land, but he's made 3 free throws.
Well, Cincinnati needs a basket here. I mean, it's 13-2 run for Marquette. They've got one way to stop the run is score yourself.
Williamson gives it up to James. The junior gets it over. Kubian, no. And Christopherson is going to be called for the foul. That's his first.
Well, James did the right thing that time. Draw the defense and make the pass. Because when the defense come back, they forget about the fact that you got a bad wrist. So they're coming at the ball, hit the open guy.
All right, this is going to be fun. We got Belton back at the free throw line again, shooting a 1-and-1. Last time at the free throw line, he not only double clutched, I think he may have triple clutched. Let's see what he's got this time around.
Well, I tell you what, I guarantee the Cincinnati players will not move until that ball is well on its way.
Come on, big fella. Kenny Belton, freshman from Salem, Virginia. Now, more standard fare and comes up empty.
I like the other one better.
So why?
Of course, I'm not coaching him. Talking about heart attack.
Woo. He's now 2 for 3 from the free throw line. James up high, finds Barrow.
Right now, you've got to play James to pass. Let him shoot. Play him to pass. That's about the third layup the big guy tonight has got.
It's the fourth.
The fourth. That people have just basically forgot about him. And he's caught a couple other tough passes.
Barrow with 8 points off the bench.
Well, Cincinnati, Coach Cronin will not be a happy camper at halftime. I can guarantee you that. Here's a situation they should be up. See what happens on this last possession, Eric.
Vaughn being pestered up high. Into the corner. Gentry. No. And that'll do it. We played 20 minutes of basketball. Tom Crean, his team did not play well for the large bulk of this first half, but they're going to go to the locker room with the lead. They're up by 4. We head to intermission. Marquette on top of Cincinnati, 28-24. College basketball on ESPN+. We're at Fifth Third Arena in Cincinnati, Ohio. A very big game for both these two schools. Marquette trying to prove they can win on the road in conference where they're 0-3. While Cincinnati just trying to keep on keeping on. They've been playing better basketball in recent weeks. They're now over 500 in conference play, 5-4. Just trying to kind of keep the pace.
Well, you know what happens. Sometimes the most difficult time for a team is when things are going well. And that is because players have a tendency to overrate their own ability, start to think maybe they're a little bit better. And you know what? Maybe yesterday's practice and the lack of concentration that mixed team had, and the reason why he was so involved in practice, that might be coming back to hurt this team a little bit today.
In case you missed it, coach was at Cincinnati's practice yesterday. Didn't feel they practiced particularly well. But they started this game playing very good defense on Marquette. They slacked off at the end and allowed the Golden Eagles to take that 4-point lead into the half. Lazar Hayward misses the left-handed reverse, and here comes Cincinnati on offense.
Well, that's a good start for Cincinnati to get that ball back and try to cut into this lead.
Alvin Mitchell, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, begins the second half on the floor for Cincinnati. He's wearing number 23, running the baseline. And Vaughn is held up high by Dominique James. That's his second foul. James was very quiet in that first half. Did not make a field goal. Was 0 for 5 from the field. Did make 3 free throws.
Well, once again, he's got a tough assignment, and today's one of those days where his main objective should be to try and stop Vaughn.
Ousmane Barrow just swats it out of bounds, and they're going to call Vaughn on a charge before the block shot happened.
Well, actually, good call, and once you get to that lane, especially when you drive baseline, you got to be ready to pull up. That's charge country down there.
First foul called on Vaughn. James with the ball up high.
Cincinnati right now went to that 3-2 zone, something that they were talking about doing if Marquette got it going a little bit. And the reason is that out of that, they can get out and cover the wings, plus they can switch against dribble handoffs and guard penetration.
Wesley Matthews flashes and scores. First bucket of the second half for either side. There's the freshman Mitchell getting the starting nod in the second half.
Now, in practice, he would never pass up that jump shot. And, you know, in the game, he's got to play just like he practices.
Vaughn, open look. Over the outstretched arms of Barrow for 3.
Well, he's not going to pass up an open shot.
Barrow runs the floor well and gets another good pass and converts. He's got 10 points.
Great pass on that. And a way to run the floor and catch the ball by the big guy. Yeah, that'd be good.
I'm not sure Barrow's created a shot of his own for 4 years, but he's a serviceable player because he's active, gets himself open, and they find him underneath.
Well, they do, and he's got good hands, so you have confidence throwing the ball to him. A lot of times big guys don't get passed to because they don't catch.
Contact inside, and they're going to call a foul on Wesley Matthews.
One of those places, Eric, that they want to exploit, and that's the offensive boards. When you rebound offensively, it was one of our keys today, you got to finish, and that's when it really pays off for you.
And I was wrong. That actually was called on Ousmane Barrow after deliberation among the referees. So Barrow picks up the personal foul, his second. And at the free throw line goes Williamson, makes the first.
Nice form, nice follow through on that by the big lefty. I always want to watch the extension and follow through of a shooter. He shoots it like you used to when you played.
Three juniors, a senior, and a sophomore on the floor for Marquette.
And a 3-2 zone by Cincinnati. There's that switch out top. Here, the area, though, you got to be really careful about when you go zone is rebounding, because you don't have a man assignment. You got to find a man in your area to box out.
Matthews gets inside, misses. The tap won't go, and Mitchell clears the board.
Give it to your guy, big guy.
These two schools have not met in over 2 years. They've only played one time against each other in Big East play. That was January 7th, 2006, a game in Milwaukee, won by Cincinnati. Here comes Hayward. And Hayward is fouled. He'll go to the line and shoot a pair. That's the first foul called on Haritzanyuk.
You know, when you're not a good passer, you let the other guys pass the basketball. Here's an example right here. Not a strength of the freshman Mitchell. You got to let your passers pass. Otherwise, these are the things that happen.
And, Coach, what a bonus this is. Lazar Hayward goes to the free throw line, where he was just an exceptional free thrower. He's made 30 of 33 free throws in Big East Conference play.
You know what's going to happen here? You just jinxed it.
No.
Want to bet?
This guy's lights out. Yeah,
Right.
he's got 2.
I'm telling you.
No.
Okay.
And the stroke is pure. I was watching him before the game.
All right.
No worries.
Okay. Usually when you know the guy's over here with the headsets on talking about a guy shooting, that's like the kiss of death. Well, we'll see what happens on the second one.
He's from Buffalo. He's mentally strong.
Right,
I knew that he had a chance.
I'll tell you what, you better be strong in Buffalo during the wintertime.
That's right.
Buffalo, Chicago.
He is now 32 for 35 in Big East play, and he didn't hit the rim.
He did not. And you know what you mentioned there? Form and follow through were perfect. It's amazing. You score a couple baskets, you get a little bit of a lead. All of a sudden, now you start to pick up your defense. Now you start to get hands into passing lanes. You start to get steals. You start to get easy baskets. This is where Cincinnati's going to have to really play mentally tough. And you even watch this here now. You know, once again, guys hustle. They'll go over the table. I thought he was coming over the side of us.
Yeah, Jarrell McNeil has some of the best hands in all of college basketball. They call him Jarrell McSteel for how many fingertips he gets on the basketball. And Wesley Matthews, what a beautiful athletic move to convert.
Well, 2 of our keys for Cincinnati: take care of the ball. They're not taking care of the ball right now. Marquette, score off of turnovers. You saw both of those come into play, and that's because, once again, the best passers, the ball, they're not the ones making the passes right now for Cincinnati.
And Warren is fouled as he gets into the paint.
Want to have the ball in the hands primarily right now with this team on the court for Cincinnati, in the hands of Warren and in the hands of Vaughn. But here comes that transition that Marquette is really, really exceptional at. And they'll score against you after a made basket or a missed basket or off a steal.
Rashad Bishop.
Got to finish.
Over to Maritzanyuk, who can't hit the left-handed shot inside, and the ball goes to the Golden Eagles.
Got to finish. You can't fault the young man's effort, but you got to finish. And his teammates, one great thing, his teammates have not quit on him. They're going to keep getting him the basketball. And obviously the coach hasn't quit on him either.
And Coach, in case you're just joining us and you're wondering that the normally dapper Tom Crean is not wearing his suit, instead he's wearing a sweatsuit. There's a reason for that. As Usman Barrow gets another bucket, he's got 12. All around the world of college basketball today, it is Coaches for Cancer Day, and suits and sneakers, and coaches around the country are wearing tennis shoes trying to promote awareness for cancer and make people understand that exercise and a healthy diet are a good way of preventing cancer. All right, timeout on the floor. Marquette looking good. They're up by 9 against Cincinnati. Welcome back, everyone, to Cincinnati. And while we talked about coaches versus cancer and sneakers being worn with suits by coaches across the country, well, cancer is it's a subject that Mick Cronin knows oh too well. His mother passed away back in 2005 of a form of cancer known as multiple myeloma, and because of that, well, he hosted a golf tournament called the Peggy Cronin Classic, which is a 3-day tournament last summer, and raised a ton of money for the cause. It is just something that he feels so passionate about.
Well, he does, and also they did a tournament at the beginning of the season, the Peggy Cronin Classic as well, and you know, so many coaches. In fact, everybody, I mean, if we live long enough, we're probably all going to be touched in some way by cancer, so we've all got to go up high.
Deontay Vaughn can't hit it, and Cincinnati continues to be cold. They trail by 9. Quickly the other way, McNeil no.
Cincinnati's got to start taking that ball to the basket a little bit more, just like that.
Warren goes the distance and puts it in. This basketball changed a little bit here. McNeil for 2.
Well, they call that transition, going from one end, whether it's offensive D or D to O. And Marquette really is a great transition team, taking the ball from the defensive end to the offensive end. Cincinnati's got to keep attacking the glass. Can't settle for threes.
Now they settle for one there, and Bishop comes up empty. James still has not hit from the field.
Well, I love him as a player, but you know, this is one of those times when you basically have to put the jump shot away.
Hayward cleans the glass. Marquette looking for their first Big East Conference road win of the season. They've lost their first 3 away from Milwaukee.
Well, they may not have as good a chance again, so it'll be very interesting to see how they play as this game goes down to the wire.
Shot along the baseline is up and good for Matthews. He's turned it on here in the second half. On the game, he's got 10.
And that was created by the extra pass, the unselfishness of the Marquette team. They're giving it. There you go.
And Bishop is whacked by Barrow.
Well, that time there, he didn't go for the bait. They wanted him to shoot the 3. Instead, he took the ball to the basket. Just, you know, you got a chance to score on a 3-point play if you drive to the basket as well.
They call the foul on Ousmane Barrow, his 3rd. Timeout on the floor. 13:40 remaining. Marquette up by a cool dozen. 13:40 remaining here in Fifth Third Arena in Cincinnati. The Bearcats trailing Marquette by 12. That's a harken back to the beginning of the game, Coach. You talked about the keys to Marquette. How are they doing?
Well, they've got 2 out of 3. They didn't get the early lead. They got that late in the first half, but they've been scoring off of turnovers. You see the 10 and blocking out on the boards and rebounding with 28 rebounds, doing a great job on the boards. Cincinnati, on the other hand, has basically not really taken care of the business that they wanted to. They've got the turnovers now. Doesn't look bad, 8, but a lot have come in the second half. Rebounding, they're doing a good job, but they're not finishing, and they certainly have at times have done a good job keeping Marquette out the paint. However, when they stop from getting in the paint, they're giving up passes underneath the basket.
Something I noticed on the stat sheet that just jumped out at me. Cincinnati, they have just 3 assists so far, and we have 13:40 remaining. What do you read into that?
Well, I'll tell you what I read into that. I read about 5 bunnies that they've missed. 5 chippies right around the basket. Big difference. They missed a lot of easy shots. And what happens is sometimes your passers become a little bit, you know, gun shy and maybe stop passing the ball if you don't finish. You got to finish.
Maurice Akers coming into the game, replacing Dominic James, who struggles so far offensively. Hayward, so tough inside.
Well, especially if you let him spin back to the baseline. If you close out and you double, that guy should not be able to even get close to the rim.
Marcus Sykes sets the screen up high for Warren. Elbow jumper, no. Rebound snapped down by Matthews. In transition. Open look for Hayward. He can hit that shot.
Once again, the extra pass that they're making right now. They're feeling pretty good about themselves, and rightfully so.
5 straight points for Hayward. He's now got 12.
This is where Vaughn has got to start to take over the game for Cincinnati.
And Mick Cronin cannot wait for another timeout. He calls one himself just to try and stop this Marquette run. It is the largest deficit of the game for Cincinnati. They trail by 15 points. Well, all season long, Champion Apparel will be bringing you a new feature highlighting the tradition and history of the Big East Conference. Today, let's take a look at the retired numbers here in Cincinnati. There's some familiar numbers and some familiar names. Number 12, Oscar Robertson. Oh, I love that post. The Big O, his number's retired. Jack Twyman, his number 27, it's retired. He averaged 25 points per game during his career. And more recently, Kenyon Martin, his number 4, retired. He was a 3-time Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year, and of course was the #1 pick in the NBA draft by the New Jersey Nets. Champion, it's how you play.
Well, I'll tell you what, those are 3 incredible players. And yes, I love that Oscar Robertson photo as well.
Oscar from Indianapolis, Crispus Attucks High School.
Very, very famous.
And then matriculating and having a fantastic career at Cincinnati.
Great job closing out right now by Marquette. Nice job on the screens. You got to attack the basket, though.
Vaughn throws it up, gets it to fall, and he's fouled.
Now, you got a young player, and you tell him to get wide and spread. Look at that. I mean, you can't get within 8 feet of him. That's incredible. No way you get to that basketball.
I don't think you can do that anymore.
He better not be able to.
That's one thing that Deontay Vaughn has in common with Oscar Robertson. Both of them high schooling in Indianapolis. And the three-point play makes it a 12-point lead for Marquette as Dominique James comes back into the game.
Well, I think if Oscar was on this team right now, he'd make sure that the ball got into the hands of Deontay.
Hayward, good hands, snatches the ball and puts it in. That's 7 straight points for Marquette for Lazar Hayward. He's now got 14 points.
Well, they're getting the ball into that low post a little bit too easy. When that ball's below the foul line, you've got to get in front of that man.
Yeah, a little bit of difference between the defense played by Cincinnati today as opposed to what they did against West Virginia on Wednesday. Already with 19 field goals are the Marquette Golden Eagles. That's almost twice as many that Cincinnati allowed on Wednesday. Bucket up and in for Larry Davis, his first bucket of the game.
Well, part of that, Eric, was the fact that West Virginia was really settling for jump shots. The Marquette team, what they've done is they're running their sets now to get the ball into the low post when they're not scoring off a transition.
Hayward.
Because that time they take a jump shot. Once again, you know, one of the hardest things to get players to do is just to keep doing what is working and what's going well. Keep it going.
And a foul from behind. Hayward reaches in, trying to poke the ball away, and he picks up his 3rd foul.
Well, that could be huge for Marquette. If you're Cincinnati right now, you want to make sure that Vaughn is driving. Maybe you also look to see if you can go at Hayward, get him to pick up his 4th. Could make a big difference.
So the foul called, and Marquette, they now have 6 team fouls. On the next foul, there'll be free throws for Cincinnati. Kind of a ticky-tack foul, but the referee right on the spot, and he calls it against Hayward. Timeout on the floor, 11-11 remaining. Don't go anywhere. Marquette, they have outscored Cincinnati by 7 here in the second half, and they have opened up their lead. They now are on top by 11 points. And Coach, I want to talk to you about that man right there. Dominique James, such a great talent, but he's obviously not 100% physically because he's 0 for 6 from the field, 0 for 4 from behind the line. It's the 2nd consecutive game he struggled offensively. What would you say to him as a coach?
Well, first of all, I tell him, you know, you do have the bad wrist, so if you're going to shoot it, let's try and get it into the lane. But really to look for other people. Don't even worry about scoring. Just do the other things that you can do, which is this young man can rebound, he can defend, he can pass. Do all those other things. Help us win games. That's what I say to him.
Ball is knocked out of bounds. Last touch by David Kubian. He'll stay with Cincinnati. It's Big East basketball from Fifth Third Arena here in Cincinnati. The 16th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles taking on the Cincinnati Bearcats. Marquette, they have not won on the road in Big East play so far this season. Alongside Mike Jarvis, I'm Eric Collins. We're coming up on the 10-minute mark remaining in today's game.
Key point in the game for Cincinnati. This is where you want to get into that, get that lead. First of all, under 10. That's the psychological barrier.
Williamson, lefty stroke is true.
Lefties, for whatever reason, maybe it's because the left eye on the rim, shoot usually best from outside on the right side of the court. Just something to remember.
How about that? I never thought about that. All right, fans now getting into it. James.
Got to put that jump shot away. You really do. Just forget about it. There's so many other things you can do.
And now a foul called against Marquette. And we're going to have free throws for Cincinnati.
And, you know, when I say that, I'm a big James fan. I've always liked this guy. And, you know, we were talking a little bit before the game. And basically, if the wrist isn't right, hey, forget about it.
All right. Timeout just called by Tom Crean. We had a timeout just moments ago. What's the point of this timeout?
Well, the point of this timeout is we were up double figures. Let's continue to go with what got us the lead. Transition scores, getting the ball down inside in the low post. And, you know, once again, when kids start to do well, they get a little comfortable and they forget. They get amnesia. And so what he's trying to do right now is remind them of what they did well to get the lead. And you know what? There's still 10 minutes left in this ball game. Mick, on the other hand, is saying to the guys, look, you got it under 10. All right, we score another basket. We turn this into a two-possession game. It's really not that complicated.
That last foul was called on Dominique James. He now has 3.
Most guys would have taken a minute and a half. Come on, will you?
right, Deontay Vaughn at the free throw line.
Real funny guy.
Vaughn, the sophomore from Indianapolis, averaging 17 points per game. This is a 1-on-1 situation.
Makes this one here. We got a 2-possession game. I mean, and so, listen, you're at home, 10 minutes to go, a 2-possession game. Not that bad.
Cincinnati has done a good job at the free throw line so far today. 11 for 13 as a team.
You know, they just showed Mick on the sideline. You look at that baby face. You say, he's just a nice, mild-mannered guy. Well, you should see him in practice. Oh, boy, he goes out and gets after it. But in a very positive way.
James and McNeil in the backcourt alongside David Kubian for Marquette. Kubian, he can stroke it. Off the mark. Rebound snatched down by Gentry. What had at one time been a 13-point lead has been cut down to 6. An 11-2 Cincinnati run.
Well, basketball, college basketball particularly, is a game of runs. You want to be the team making that last run.
Inside, another bucket for Williamson. It's a 4-point game.
This is where the psyche now, well, we lost our last 6 road games. Let's see what happens if you're Marquette.
And I think Marvin Gentry bailed him out. Tom Crean's team, they got bailed out right there. A foul was called on Gentry. Kubian will go back to the bench, replaced by Maurice Acker for Marquette. Usman Barrow into the game, playing with 3 fouls.
Marquette needs to go back to running the sets where they get that ball into the low post.
Acker picks up his dribble, has his pocket picked, gets it back over to James. Plenty of time on the shot clock. And James finally gets his first shot to fall.
And you know what? It was going to the basket. If he's going to shoot, it's got to be going to the basket.
He's now got 5 points. That field goal and 3 free throws. That snaps a 7-0 run for Cincinnati.
Want the ball in the hands of your best player.
And the ball poked away. Marquette, they've got numbers. 4-on-1. Acker is fouled from behind.
Once again on the run out, Marquette, you know, really, really great at taking that ball from one end to the other, particularly from the defensive end to the offensive end. And here you've got the run out and the foul. Got him on top of the head.
Larry Davis is his second foul. And Acker will shoot free throws.
If he misses even one of these, it was definitely worth the foul.
He hits the first. The sophomore from Hazel Crest, Illinois, who transferred from Ball State. 2 other games going on as we speak around the Big East. Georgetown on top of Seton Hall by 7 in the second half. And Syracuse flexing some muscle on the road against Villanova, up 58-49.
Well, we saw them win the other night at DePaul. So, you know, once again, if you're away from home and you win one, yeah, you might as well go win another one. And Villanova's struggling a little bit right now.
Back to the bench goes James.
Big time possession here. You want to keep it, once again, that 2-possession situation.
Gentry over to Davis. Swing it to Vaughn. Pull up.
I'll tell you, he is so good along. In fact, he's just good. I was going to say along the baseline. No matter where he goes, he can stop on a dime.
Deontay's got a body like one of your former high school players you coached out in Cambridge Ridge in Latin. He looks a little bit like Ramil Robinson, the old Michigan Wolverine.
He does. He really does. And you know what? He plays a lot like him, too.
Usman Barrow, just Johnny on the spot. He's got 14 points. All of them have come about 2 feet away from the bucket.
Well, he stays active, and his players know that he's going to keep moving into open areas, and they have a real good knack of finding them.
Nice floating shot. The freshman from Houston, Larry Davis.
Well, one of those freshmen that Mick likes. He likes his young players.
Hayward, count the bucket, and he's fouled.
Transition again. You've got to find people. You can't run back to spots. You got to find people.
Lazar Hayward, he's about as strong as a winter in Buffalo. Get him the ball, and he'll finish it. Bumped, it goes. We'll come back and see if he can convert the three-point play. All right, folks, it is nitty-gritty time here in Cincinnati. The locals trailing Marquette 58-50, 7:24 remaining. Marquette, they have an opportunity to tack on an extra point. Lazar Hayward is going to go to the free throw line and try and finish off this three-point play.
Well, he has been coming up big for his team in his last game against South Florida, and this game again. He's leading his team in scoring, and they're finding the fact that you know, they've got more guys that can score, and when Dominique James gets healthy again, his wrist gets better, I think this will be a much better team.
Turnover battle just about even. Marquette with 8, Cincinnati with 9, but the assists, well, just night and day. Marquette with almost 3 times as many assists to Cincinnati. Is that indicative, Coach, they're playing better team basketball?
It really is. They're making that extra pass, and of course they're finishing. You can't get an assist if you don't finish. You can make the greatest pass in the world. The guy misses, you're not going to get an assist.
Well, that's a rarity. Lazar Hayward misses a free throw. That is just his 4th missed free throw in conference play. He's attempted 36 of them. Ousmane Barrow affects that shot. It's missed inside. And here comes Marquette.
Well, Ousmane that time stayed straight like an oak tree. He didn't come down at the ball, stayed straight.
Matthews sneaks through, can't get it to fall, and gets landed on by Alvin Mitchell for his efforts. Williamson fighting for position, gets the ball. Face-up jumper. And Barrow another rebound. Folks, this is interesting. Marquette is playing right now in an important period of this game without Dominique James. He's replaced by Maurice Acker. Hayward, no. Blocked by Williamson.
Give it up. Give it up. Passers pass. Shooters shoot. Simple.
Gets inside and finishes with the left hand.
Drivers drive. Do what you do best, and you always got a chance in this game. You mentioned James was out. Well, not for long. He's getting ready to check back in again, Eric.
With that last bucket, Vaughn now has 23 points. That's 6 over his season's average.
And he's not done yet, I guarantee you.
Hayward gets inside. Wild shot, no, and Barrow runs it down.
Got a rebound.
McNeil, 3-point shot. He may have been on the line there, but they call it a 3.
Well, that's why they got the camera over there. They'll look at it, unlike the old days. But you see how big a box out is. First of all, Cincinnati wanted to charge. They didn't get that. But then they don't get the rebound, and Marquette's either going to get a 2 or a 3. I mean, that's potentially a 5 or a 6-point swing. You stop them at this end, you score at the other. That's the difference between winning and losing.
They're going to take a look at that last shot by McNeil to see if his foot was on the line.
Well, Mr. Kitt's one of the best. Looking at it, looked like it was on the line. It's there. It looks like it is on the line. It's like a 2-pointer, is it? 2.
Well, if he wore a size 12 instead of a size 13, that'd have been 3 points.
You'd also have a lot of bunions. See, in the old days, we usually had whatever sneakers were handed down. So, you know, every party would have got a 3 because usually you had, you know, your older brother's sneakers, and they were always too small. Good point, Eric.
They didn't have the 3-pointer, though, back then.
That's true, too. That's true, too. So it all balances out. Get the ball into the hands of your best.
Oh, McSteal gets the steal, and it's an intentional foul. It'll be 2 shots and the ball for Marquette. That's a blunder for the senior Haritzonyuk.
Wow.
And folks, just like that, that's going to be our big stop of the game, brought to you by Cooper Tires. Don't give up a thing.
He didn't give up a thing. Watch this here. Come on back here. The problem with that is you now, not only do you get the steal, and you get a foul right here on the grab, and luckily for Cincinnati is a miss. I was just going to say that's a potential 5-point play.
McNeil second in the Big East in steals per game, a little over 2 per contest. But listen to this. He is so effective getting into passing lanes. He has only played 6 games in his entire college career. Remember, he's played over 100 games. This is his 3rd year playing basketball in college. He has only played 6 games where he hasn't had a steal. He always consistently is getting steals and disrupting things.
Because he's always around the basketball, and he's got, he's been blessed with really great hands, and he uses them.
Hayward is fouled, and he will go to the free throw line.
I know you hear the boos, but that was a good call.
They call it on Williamson, his second, and Hayward goes to the stripe.
Got him with the body before the shot. It's a game of runs, as we talked about before. Does Cincinnati have one more run in them? If they were on the road, I'd probably say no. They're home, so this crowd might just be able to pick them back up for that last 5 minutes. For the sake of the game, I hope so.
Nick Cronin's team playing with a full head of steam after that emotional win on Wednesday down in Morgantown against Bob Huggins and the Mountaineers. Soft touch for Hayward. He's 4 for 5 from the line, and it's an 11-point lead for the visitors from Milwaukee. And now, Coach, time is a factor.
Well, time is a factor. You still want to keep attacking the rim, however. And whatever Vaughn decides to take, that's okay.
McNeil again gets in that passing lane. Shot clock down to 10. Mitchell. And we're going to have a tie-up. Possession arrow is going to keep the ball with Cincinnati. That was a quick tie-up.
That was a quick tie-up. And you got to wonder if maybe it wasn't just a little bit too quick. The arrow going to Cincinnati. Of course, they'd rather have the basket.
Another game in action in the Big East. This one in the first half. Pittsburgh on top of Connecticut by 3 in a game being played up at UConn.
It's amazing what Jamie's team has done without Levance Fields and Mike Cook. I mean, they continue to be a tough out, and they'll be right in it all the way. And Levance is expected to come back and play before this season's over.
Williamson 40 feet away from the bucket.
Continuing to run the offense, probably too far away, but that, give Marquette credit.
Davis, no. Williamson, offensive foul. They're going to call it on Williamson going after the rebound.
And rightfully so. What happened is, if we see it, or if we don't, on the drive, the big guy, just look at the drive now. What you're not going to see is the weak side of the floor. Williamson right now should be working for inside position and really making sure that guy is all the way underneath the basket. He waited until the last minute, then he tried to push him under.
It looked like he pushed Ousmane Barrow, but they're going to put Lazar Hayward at the free throw line. And this is a big deal because Hayward is a fantastic free throw shooter, and this will be a 1-and-1.
Well, you think that's something Marquette practices?
I think the foul was on Ousmane Barrow.
I think you're right.
Oh, and these are just 3 points here from Marquette. A little chicanery.
Yeah, well, this is where somebody on the staff, hopefully it picked it up. And if you're right, Eric, somebody should have picked that up over there, one of the assistants, and basically allowed Coach Cronin to question and have the officials look at it.
Yeah, the difference is Hayward shoots 84% from the line. Barrow shoots 64%.
A little bit of a difference.
Now Hayward misses the second of 2.
You're jinxing him, Eric.
But Barrow pokes it away, and Cincinnati gets it back. Mitchell. Oh, big shot. That's just what the doctor ordered.
Well, it's also what he does best, shoot open threes. And you know what? When you're young and you're not a great passer, you want to play to your strength. That's his strength, shooting the open, not contested, but the open 3.
So the lead trimmed down to 9. Hayward, wild shot, no. Loose ball picked up by Matthews, and he is fouled.
You got to come up with those if you're Cincinnati. Every possession counts right now.
He was fouled on the floor, so it'll be a one-on-one situation. Let's take a look at that. Just a moment ago, we were wondering, who was that foul on? Who got pushed in the back by Williamson? They said that it was Hayward who got pushed in the back, but look, it was actually Barrow, number 41, who was pushed. So Marquette, they got away with one. Timeout on the floor. Don't go anywhere. Today's ESPN Plus game has been brought to you by Red Lobster. For a short time, pair your two favorite shrimp creations together at Red Lobster. PNC, leading the way. Champion, it's how you play. Pizza Hut, unlock the flavor of the crunchy, cheesy crust pizza, only from Pizza Hut. And by Cooper Tires, don't give up a thing. 3:30 remaining in this one. Marquette looking for their first Big East road win after stubbing their toe in their first 3 conference contests away from Milwaukee. Tom Crean's team, they've got a real chance here, up by 9.
Well, they do for a couple of reasons. One is they've got a lot of really good ball handlers and passers. In fact, they're really playing right now with 4 perimeter players. That bodes well for them. If you're Cincinnati right now, the name of the game is we got to make 3 defensive stops in a row and hopefully score at least 2 of those 3 times to have a chance.
Tom Crean is pleased there as Wesley Matthews hits the front end of a one-on-one. He'll get another attempt.
And boy, you called it. I'll tell you what, on that other one. I mean, you know, I'd love to have you sitting on the bench with me because the wrong guy went to the basket. Went to the free throw line, rather.
I always wonder about that. You always talk about accountability and sportsmanship, all that kind of stuff. They pulled one over on him.
They did.
They sent Lazar Hayward to the free throw line when the foul was, when it should have been Ousmane Barrow going to the free throw line.
Now, obviously, you're saying they shouldn't do that.
Well,
and you're right. They shouldn't.
It's whatever you can get away with.
I guess, huh?
Mitchell trying to make it 2 in a row, and he does. The freshman from Fort Lauderdale. He's now got 9.
Now, you need 3 stops in a row if you're Cincinnati.
Dominic James has made just 1 field goal so far today.
Ton of time left. No need to panic. No need to foul. Just make stops.
McNeil over to Barrow. And count the bucket and the foul. They didn't get the stop.
How can you lose sight of a guy that is so active and that has hurt you all night? You can't. You cannot leave this guy around the basket. Give Ousmane a lot of credit. He just keeps moving into open areas and then, of course, finish. I'm still looking for the foul, however.
They call it on John Williamson, his 4th. And Barrow, the 64% free thrower, will try and make the 3-point play. He does.
I didn't see a foul in the first place, so you can just call anybody you want, I guess. Got away with a push-off there. Anyhow, so watching the game right now, there's a lot of contact going off the ball.
Mitchell misses the shot, going after the loose ball. That's McNeil. He comes up with it, and what do they have?
I think they've got Marquette on the line. Unless he called a foul. Yeah. I'm going to watch this one here. I think they're going to call a foul on 22 right here. That's an awfully tough call.
They call that foul on McNeil?
Yeah, that's what they call a home court foul. And it was right in front of the Cincinnati bench. There's no way that call was made down in front of the Marquette bench. I guarantee you.
McNeil was the first one to the ball. I guess he was somewhat out of control and caused the other player to fall down, but
he was on the floor diving for the ball. I mean, you should reward a player for that, not penalize him for that. And in fact, Warren is very, very fortunate that he didn't get maybe hurt on a play like that.
Well, Warren is not a good free throw shooter, but he makes the first, and he'll have a chance for another.
Still tons of time left, but you got to make stops.
Warren, believe it or not, just 35% from the free throw line.
That's incredible.
That's hard to do for your point guard. I There's no way he's a 35% free throw shooter with that stroke. He makes
no.
Oh, Barrow, nice hands. Good feed from James, and Barrow converts. He's got 19 points.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a highlight film if I'm Marquette of how to run the floor if you're a big. Because this guy runs, catches, and finishes.
Shot from distance, no, and oof. McNeil goes down.
Leave him down.
Wow. That's some Chicago tough right there.
I'll tell you what else it is, too. It's, is he going to the free throw line? It might be free throws. That'll get you up quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came. Oh, boy, I tell you what, he came down pretty good. And like I said, the only thing that might get you up quick on that is the fact that you're going to the free throw line to shoot a couple.
Yeah, you don't need the media guy to tell that Jarrell McNeil is from Chicago. That kid's a tough customer.
He is.
And he'll go to the free throw line.
Well, if Marquette can hold on and get this one on the road, you know, the proverbial monkey will be taken off their back, and people will start talking about the fact that they've lost their last 6 road games.
And John Williamson is going to be relegated to the bench the rest of the way. He falls out with 7 points. 2 shots for Jarrell McNeil, junior from Hillcrest High School just outside of Chicago. Let's take a look now at our defender of the game, brought to you by the U.S. Navy. Accelerate your life. And it's Usman Barrow with half dozen rebounds, go along with 19 points. This is all done off the bench.
I'll tell you what, I was just going to say he could be a defensive and offensive player of the game. I mean, and he has been the difference in this game. His ability to get up and down the court has been phenomenal.
Mitchell, open look. Matthews ahead of the pack. Oh, man, body's flying. And they're going to say that it's Cincinnati basketball, no foul call. Wow, they just said that he lost the ball. I don't know about that.
No, I don't think so, but that's why they got 3 officials. Oh, a 4-round shiver to the back.
That's a missed call. Jamal Warren, he should have been called for the personal foul.
Yes, he should have.
We're here in Cincinnati, Ohio, Fifth Third Arena. The 16th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles looking for their first win in conference on the road. With Mike Jarvis, I'm Eric Collins. And Coach, I want to ask you about that. If you're Mick Cronin right now and you just saw what Jamal Warren did to Wesley Matthews, would you take him out of the game? Would you talk to him?
Well, I'd talk to him while he's in the game. But I definitely would, you know, I would definitely try and get him not to do that. Not just for the sake that he might hurt another guy, but also they don't need to give the ball to Marquette.
Yeah, that was right in front of Tom Crean. He saw exactly what happened there. It was Jamal Warren. It looked as if he just purposefully threw down Wesley Matthews, but nothing was called. All right, Cincinnati. Jump shot from Mitchell, no good. James the rebound.
That last shot by Mitchell, that's not his shot. He's a rhythm catch, shoot it without the dribble guy.
All right, time now for our game-changing performance brought to you by Pontiac. And we're going to keep the theme, Usman Barrow.
Well, it's a great theme because he has been the difference maker in this game, whether it's catching the ball in traffic,
he's wearing a sweatsuit,
or running the floor. He's done a great job, and his players have done an even better job getting him the ball. 19
points for the senior from Senegal. His season high is 14 against the Providence Friars back on January 3rd. His career high is 21 against Northwestern State back in December of '06. Heck of a performance. Missed just 1 shot from the field.
Well, it's 3-point time now for Cincinnati. I mean, they're just going to have to launch the threes and hope somehow they can turn Marquette over. You shouldn't be able to do that with the guards and the ball handlers that Marquette has in the game right now.
And Cincinnati's not going to foul. They're going to let Marquette play it out. And a foul is going to be called An offensive foul. They're going to call Dominique James for the charge, his 4th foul. That's really the only thing you couldn't do if you're Marquette. Cincinnati was content to let him run the clock, it looked like.
Yeah, you know, once again, I mean, right now, James, not only does he have to make sure that he just takes care of the ball, but not put himself in a position where he can do more damage to that wrist. And that means maybe not, you know, not driving to the hoop either.
And Dominique is holding his wrist as we speak on that right side of the court.
It's one of those injuries that takes a long time to heal. And you can tell it's really bothering him.
Second field goal of the game for Dominique James.
I guess it's okay for layups.
Well, that's going to do it. An impressive win for Marquette. They come on the road and they win in Big East Conference play for the first time away from Milwaukee. They're going to improve to 6-3 in conference. They are now 16-4 overall, while Cincinnati, they lose at home to fall to 500 and 5-5 in Big East Conference play. Quick final thoughts, Coach?
Quick final thoughts is Cincinnati did not follow through on their game plan. It looked like they lost concentration on the other side of the ledger. Marquette came in, and I mean, they were mentally prepared for this basketball game.
So tip of the cap to Marquette. They pick up the W. They're now 6-3 in conference. Our final score, Marquette, they win 75-60 over Cincinnati. For Mike Jarvis and our entire ESPN Plus crew, I'm Eric Collins saying so long from the Queen City of Cincinnati.